So this should be funny. Oh boy. Let's get it.
Awards season. If there's one thing I enjoy less than spending a couple of hours slogging through some tedious, mediocre piece of Hollywood slop, it's spending a couple of hours slogging through some tedious, mediocre awards ceremony where Hollywood celebrities who flew in on private jets wearing $10,000 dresses preach to us about the evils of capitalism and how we all need to work together to fight climate change or save the Ukraine or whatever the current popular thing is this year. It's like your average Scottish wedding.
I always have to edit that clip because I got a age restriction for it. Guess it's because he's drinking in his drawers. So I always have to edit that clip.
It's boring for the most part, but there's always a chance of a fight breaking out or some drunken making a fool of themselves during their speech. Sadly though, this year it was not to be. The 2025 Oscars were notable precisely because of
I like that setup back there though. It looks cool. Look like some Wakandan technology or something. Maybe Transformers. However, conspiracy theorists, I already see it. There's a few roads we could go down here, but I already see it. Oh boy.
Of controversy. There were no big upsets, no shocking wins or losses, no outrageous speeches or inflammatory rhetoric. Damn man, even Mark Hamill managed to keep both his pants and his Trump derangement under control for the evening, proving that he truly must be a good actor because he can pretend not to be a crazy person for a while. Conan O'Brien, one of the few late night talk show hosts who isn't a creepy manipulative retard, hosted with his usual laid back self-deprecating style, which was just as tolerably okay as you'd expect from a guy who's been in show business longer than most of us have been alive. He delivered a few pointed jabs at his fellow celebrities and one or two at the Orange Man, but most of his jokes were pretty safe and predictable and, well, fine, I guess. Okay. I have to admit, though, one of the most unintentional...
I always liked Conan. I never had an issue with him. You know, just seemed like a genuine guy and he's funny, you know. It could be all an act, but... here we go.
Hilarious moments of the night was watching Rachel Zegler waddle out on stage with Gal Gadot to present an award, looking like a small, petulant child reluctantly going clothes shopping with her mum. Honestly, putting these two together in public is like parking a Lamborghini next to a Ford Escort, and you could practically feel the hostility crackling in the air around them. The promo tour for Snow White's gonna be fucking wild, man. In terms of the actual results, which I assume is why the dwindling audience still tunes in for this stuff, and
she looks, that's whatchamacallit, right? What's her name? She like totally changed her face.
I assume is why the dwindling
I forgot.
Audience
you know who I'm talking about.
Still tunes in for this stuff. Anora was the big winner of the night with 5 wins, including Best Picture, Best Actress, and Best Director.
Jiggling down, didn't
and that's fine, I guess. It's a solid enough drama about a guy who falls in love with a stripper, marries her at a Vegas wedding chapel, and ultimately gets cold feet when he tries to introduce her to his family. We've all been there, bro. It's a decent little movie with strong performances, especially from Mikey Madison, and a not particularly happy ending that feels quite brutally realistic and appropriate. Yeah, it wasn't exactly a life-changing experience, and if I asked ChatGPT to produce a generic Oscar-winning movie, then I'm pretty sure it would spit out something exactly like Anora, but whatever. It was always going to be a safe bet, and I think that was a hallmark of the Oscars this year. Emilia Perez, which for some reason was nominated in almost every category that exists...
I heard it didn't get nothing. Let's see if that's true, but I heard it didn't get nothing, and some old tweets popped up that caused controversy. And when I think about this, how they've like, I know it's always kind of been a inside club type of thing, just from what you read and see, but it's funny how they started to truly pigeonhole people, corner people into, you can't get nominated for an Oscar unless you have this in your movie or that in your movie. And the more you have in it, the more we'll consider you. It just can't be a great piece of entertainment. it has to have all this other political stuff. Like man, like I told y'all before, I am so glad that I didn't blow up as a mainstream actor. I swear to God, because I'm actually extremely concerned about what I would be asked to do, what I may be kind of forced or pigeonholed into doing when I just want to create great entertainment. I don't want to be political in messaging people. I want to be fundamentally sound in any characters that I play. I don't want to wag my finger at people. I just want to make fun entertainment. That's it. So it's like, I think these actors get in, they blow up, they get a big paycheck. Then all of a sudden they've got multi-million-dollar mansions and land and family living with them, and they're taking care of family and cars and trips and businesses. And if they say no, the money stops. And then they're stuck. You know what I'm saying? So that's a concern to me. So, like I told y'all, my agent ain't called me in over a year because I told him, don't send me anything for any shows or movies that are woke. So they're still going in that direction. So, whatever.
Was arguably the big loser of the night, with the only significant award going to Zoe Saldana for Best Supporting Actress. And I think that was a pretty fair choice because she delivered a great performance, even if it was in a shit movie. It does make me wonder, though, if...
That's right, he watched it.
Amelia Perez was originally supposed to sweep the awards this year, but the organisers put their fingers on the scales after all the backlash to the film, and it's, star. But Drinker, you suave tuxedo-wearing Hollywood legend, I hear you say, the awards are voted on by the Academy, and there's no way to influence their decision.
Yeah, right. Yo, I heard there was something with that, too. Well, like the people that vote were given a list and they didn't want to vote. And I don't see if he touches on this here.
The Brutalist, which was basically 3.5 hours of Adrian Brody being miserable, ultimately paid off for the guy and netted him a Best Actor awards. It's the story of a Jewish architect who emigrates to America after the war and helps design a new library for... The only real sticking point for me was The Substance, which I think should have netted Demi Moore a Best Actress Oscar, not just for her work on that movie, which was fantastic, but as a kind of Lifetime Achievement Award, considering she's been in the business for more than 40 years at this point. I mean, the movie did at least win for Best Makeup, which is obviously pretty well deserved, but it would have been nice to see a mainstream hit like that get a bit more recognition. As it stands, most of the winners this year were the kind of low-budget, obscure movies that were only going to be of interest to people who drive...
Who here never watches the Oscars? I never have. Even when I was a kid, I think I've always had the feeling that all the snooty, coffee-drinking, hipster, artsy-fartsy movies are going to be the ones that win. And I know that's not always true. I know that. But I got that era of feeling when I was younger, and I just never tuned in. And whenever I thought about tuning in, I would always miss them. I never knew when they were coming on, or I would just miss them. So it is what it is. I think that even if I was a major actor, I wouldn't go. Found out like certain guys don't go. Like I remember seeing Michael Jai White in an interview, and he was like, he doesn't go to award shows. He's doing very well for himself. He has a studio and everything. He's one of the icons. You know what I mean? That people look up to in the business, but he doesn't go. And I wouldn't. Maybe if I was heard I was being nominated, maybe I'd go. But or a movie that I was in was being nominated, I would go. But I don't know, something's boring about it.
For 14 hours straight to go to wanky regional film festivals and pretend like they're enjoying themselves. As much as last year's Oscars focused on big, commercially successful, crowd-pleasing movies, this year did a complete 180, and I'm not entirely sure that it paid off. All of this is to say that the 2025 Oscars was basically a 4-hour snore fest that drew 1 million less viewers than the previous year, which was already a bit of a low point, and if I had to guess, I'd say that was mostly intentional. The Oscars acts as a kind of bellwether for the state of play in Hollywood and what we can expect from them in the year ahead. Whereas previous awards ceremonies have been filled with defiance and political posturing and big extravagant rants against the dreaded Orange Man, the attitude this year was like a man that's been bent over a table and violently humbled. This is an industry coming off a miserable year of strikes and disruption, followed by another year of disappointing flops and financial contraction, not to mention a US election that absolutely did not go the way.
We have to fit that in somewhere in my repertoire. Violently humbled. No pun intended. Fitting it in.
They wanted. And if I'm right, 2025 isn't going to be much better for them. There was an almost tangible feeling of unease this year, like they were some unproductive employee that knows their boss is watching their every move and is desperate not to attract any more attention to themselves. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that, because they 100% deserve this. They got too big for their boots, they overestimated their own importance and cultural power, and now they're learning the hard way that they serve us, not the other way around. A few more years of this, and they might just learn their place at last. In the meantime, though, it's going to be interesting to see how much more irrelevant next year's Oscars becomes.
Oh, baby.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
She's not going to be saved by the prince. Oh, boy. Well, folks. Get over to the Critical Drinker and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. Oh, man. And if you enjoyed my reaction and thoughts, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Did you watch the Oscars? What did you think? 10 million subscribers. Woo!